While there are still 2 hours to go before voting is officially over here in Ohio, we have already gotten an update on Lucas County where the vote turnout is so far. Michael Sandlin joining us live in studio. He spoke to the director of the Lucas County Board of Elections. So how is this election comparing to others?
Well, Jeff, voter turnout so far in Lucas County has been massive. According to the board's website, more than 70,000 people have voted in person today. Add in absentee voting, they've already had some 18,000 county residents vote, putting this election on track to be bigger than the last midterms in 2018, potentially on par with some presidential elections. And Scott says in the week leading up to today, there wasn't a single day that the early vote center saw less than 1,000 voters. With Election Day finally here, Scott says so far voting has been a mostly smooth process, but it hasn't been without its hiccups. Depending on where you are in the county, there can be over 23 issues for Lucas County residents to vote on. And Scott says it's been taking people longer to vote than previous elections, causing long lines at certain polling stations. But with additional paper ballots at the ready, she expects no major hurdles as the last groups of voters make it to their polling stations. And Scott says there have been a few documented incidents of people's electronic poll books not being read by the scanner, but with the paper backups at the ready, she says every resident's vote will be properly counted today. And those polling stations officially close at 7:30, but if you get in line before that time, Scott says you will be allowed to stay in line and cast your vote. Reporting in studio, I'm Michael Sandlin, WTOL 11.
Michael, thanks. The stakes are high for Democrats and Republicans. This is where things stand in Washington right now. Democrats control the House, but not by much. The Senate is split 50-50, but Democrats have control because Vice President Kamala Harris has the tie-breaking vote. Republicans hope to take both chambers tonight. Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur running for re-election, and Republican J.R. Majewski defeated a number of other opponents in the primary to face off against her. Dan Cummins and Kaylee Marentet are covering this race live for us tonight. Dan, you've been with the Lucas County Republican Party all afternoon. How do Republicans feel about tonight?
Mel, there's a lot of optimism here. All right, take a look at this. What will it take for the longest serving woman in the House in the U.S. history? What will it take to topple her? Well, J.R. Majewski is considered a Trump-backed Republican, and although national media considers this a race that's leaning Democratic, you just never knew, because right now we've got predicted to be a big red wave. There's a lot of discontent over the president's policies. Now, I can remember when I was covering the elections in Lucas County in Sylvania in 2016, we remember how Donald Trump came out of nowhere. The early returns were looking heavily toward Hillary Clinton, but by the end of the night, Donald Trump had won the presidency. In 2018, I was down in Columbus with the Democratic Party. Richard Cordray was the lead candidate for governor, along with a whole string of candidates, and early returns had them winning that. But as it turned out, Mike DeWine won in 2018, and his whole campaign is revolving around a re-election right now. We'll have more as the night goes on. See you at 6 o'clock on WTOL 11. Dan Cummins reporting.
A lot of people going to be watching this one. Thanks, Dan. Over to the Democrats tonight. Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur, the longest serving woman in the history of the House of Representatives, is hoping to keep control of District 9. Kaylee Marentet is at the UAW Local 12, where Ms. Kaptur will be spending the evening with the Democratic Party. Kaylee, the Congresswoman's held this seat for decades. How is she feeling about tonight?
Yeah, Melissa, this is incumbent Marcy Kaptur's watch party. Things are still getting set up. We have about an hour and a half until things get kicked off here. But when we spoke to her last week, she says she's got a lot of jobs that she wants to continue if she's reelected. Now, Kaptur has been in a lot of large parties over the years, seeing that she has been in Congress for 4 decades. Next year, she will celebrate 40 years in Congress. When we spoke to her last week, she says she wants to continue work on the economy and environmental protections in her district, which stretches from the west of Toledo down to the Cleveland area. And this year she is going up, like Dan Cummins said, against Republican J.R. Majewski. We'll be sure to stay here throughout the night and bring you the latest updates as soon as we hear more and when this race is officially called. Reporting live in Central Toledo, Kaylee Marentet, WTOL 11.
Kaylee, thank you. Voters in Michigan, they are deciding on reproductive rights today. When they've been out at the polls, Tatiana Cash has been tracking the coverage. She continues our team coverage in just a little bit. We will have much more on that vote. One issue Toledoans are deciding on here today, issue 21. It is a potential change in the city's charter, including a potential change in term limits for the mayoral position. Chase Bachman joining us live at the Lucas County Board of Elections with more on that. Chase?
Well, Jeff, here at the Lucas County Board of Elections, we're going to see the unofficial results of a lot of races and issues. One of those is issue 21, which has a lot of provisions in it, but most notably the one extending mayoral term limits from 2 to 3. Now, there are other provisions, 12 to be exact, in this issue, including removing a city residency requirement for employees and the ability to use capital funds to improve roads. WTOL 11 spoke with Toledoans outside the early vote center last week, and many oppose the issue. They say they approve of the job current Mayor Wade Kapsakavich is doing, but disagree with longer terms on principle. Some are even worried about the possibility voters aren't making a fully informed decision. Now, Toledoans outside the early vote center say they hope that voters can weigh every part of this issue and make an informed decision. And later tonight, we'll see the unofficial results of those decisions. Reporting live in West Toledo, Chase Bachman, WTOL 11.
All right, Chase, thanks so much. In Lucas County, there are several levies up for renewal. Issue 7 is a 10-year tax renewal for operating and improving the Toledo Metro Parks. Issue 10 is the 5-year tax renewal for operating the Imagination Station. Issue 11 is a 5-year tax renewal to cover current expenses of the Toledo Lucas County Public Library. Again, these issues are not new taxes, they are renewals. Down to Bowling Green, where Bowling Green City Schools went back to voters once again, trying to get enough support to build a new high school. Kaylee Kirby continues our team coverage there with more live from BG. Kaylee.
Yeah, Melissa, for the 4th time in as many years, district leaders are asking voters to approve another levy on the ballot, this time for a new high school split between property and income tax. Now, to break it down for you, if approved, the district would raise about $70 million. That money would build a new high school, as we mentioned, and have other funding to put toward existing buildings. It's a split tax bond. The first part is a 0.5, so 0.5% income tax for 7 years, and the second part is a 3.95 mil levy for 30 years. Someone, for example, with a house value of $100,000 would pay around $136 a year in property tax portion. And that same person, if they make around $66,000 for their annual income, would pay about $331 a year for income tax. And that would drop after 7 years. I spoke with board members who say the cost to build this high school isn't going to get any cheaper, and this is the time to do it. But it all comes down to the voters, and some say now is the time, and others say it is not the right time, and there's other things we can do to fix the high school instead of building a brand new one. We will have much more tonight as we follow this and as the unofficial results stroll in. Once the polls close, we'll track all of this for you all night tonight. Reporting live in BG, Kaylee Kirby, WTOL 11.
It's not the only school issue on the ballot. Voters in Gibsonburg deciding on a ballot measure that accounts for more than 10% of the local district's budget. Gibsonburg schools asking voters to approve the continuation of the district's 1% earned income tax. Voters approved increasing the tax from 0.75% to 1% in 2017. With the tax expiring at the end of 2023, district leaders say this is the best solution to keep the district moving forward.
And a lot of recent polls have shown reproductive rights is a big voting issue throughout the country. And tonight, voters in Michigan are deciding on reproductive rights as well. Tatiana Cash continues our team coverage live in Adrian with more on Proposal 3, a result of that Roe v. Wade decision by the Supreme Court in June. Tatiana?
Now, Melissa, Prop 3, what it is if passed, would amend the state constitution. So what's going to happen is Michigan would regulate abortion in specific cases. Additionally, it would not have any prosecution. So it would stop prosecution for women looking for an abortion, and it would stop prosecution for those who are trying to assist someone getting an abortion. And those who are looking to get an abortion can come to Michigan to get it if they don't live here. And for now, they're just basically waiting to get information on that when it comes to the vote. So here's what they said in terms of just split ideas on this decision. All right, so then we'll have more information coming up a little bit later on. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Tatiana, thank you. Be sure to follow us all night long with the results as they start coming in. We're going to have them for you on air, online. Plus, you can do this right here, right now. Text the word results to 419-248-1100, and then they will be sent right to your phone.